On today's live daily news, a GoFundMe has been set up for a local shooting victim, a quick weather update in the Concho Valley, and today is San Angelo Gives. Plus, the Great Divide will be in town this weekend, and we've got him on the show to talk about the history of red dirt music. All this plus more, I'm Matt Trammell, and this is Live. But before we get into the news, this Friday is Cinco de Mayo. With that, bars are already gearing up for a night of partying. The top spot, though, will be the Penny Bar and Grill. There they will have the Band of Salto playing, they will have drink specials, and of course, tacos. The Penny Bar and Grill is located at 2412 College Hills Boulevard. It'll be a night to remember, so we'll see you there. We start the show today with, of course, the biggest story in town, and that is San Angelo Gives. Of course, there is no wrong group to donate to, but we're suggesting, of course, the Food Bank, the Bishop Street Recovery Ranch, and La Esperanza Health Clinic. But there are plenty of others things to give to. As of now, the leaderboards are looking like Cornerstone Christian in first, Bills for the Elderly in second, and the Pregnancy Help Center for the Concho Valley in third. And of course, if you look hard enough, you can also find some fun activities in San Angelo Gives, like splash pads, the Cristobal Park, and so much more. But like I said, it doesn't matter who you donate to as long as you do. Right now, the total is at $2.2 million. Last year, they finished at $4.1, so we've got a ways to go. And if you're into the giving mood, another person looking for help is the victim in Friday's shooting. Javier San Juan was shot in the parking lot of the Nueva Vista Apartments by Kaya Paul Hill on Friday. Paul Hill has since been arrested, but for San Juan, he has been in the hospital. Javier was shot in the stomach and the hand, and because of that, he is having to have a number of surgeries. If you would like to help Javier, go check out the GoFundMe on sanangelolive.com. In court news today, a San Angelo man was in court today after getting indicted for continuous sexual abuse of a child and indecency with a child. 44-year-old James Berry has been indicted by a Tom Green County grand jury after allegedly abusing a child for several years. The victim said in an interview that on at least 4 different occasions from 2020 to 2023 that she had been assaulted. Berry was interviewed by an investigator, and he denied anything happened. On January 17th of this year, he was arrested and booked for continuous sexual abuse of a child and was released 2 days later on January 19th on a $150,000 bond. Berry will next be in court on August 29th, 2023 for his final criminal pretrial. And in weather over the next couple of days, it's looking like we're going to be getting some of that much needed rain. There is a small chance tonight, but then over the next few days, those chances will increase. When we get to Thursday, expect thunderstorms all day. There's a 30% chance after 1 o'clock, but the rain from Wednesday night might still hang around. And finally, the Wall Hawk baseball team is gearing up for a big playoff run. Ryan Chadwick will have more on that in just a second, but first, here's a message from Jim Bass Ford.
We all know it's super hard to find Super Duties. They are few and far between, but right now, you can actually find a great selection at Jim Bass, and it's perfect because it's Truck Month. So why not take advantage of the Ford factory incentives and our great selections and make it the place to buy your next truck. Jim Bass Cars and Trucks, Houston Hardin Road, or 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
The Wall Hawks baseball team capped off their regular season last night by capturing another district championship against Jim Ned in Abilene. After falling behind early in the first inning, the Hawks pulled themselves together and secured a dominant victory 12-3. The Hawks claim the 1 seed heading into the playoffs this weekend. Wall plays Brady in the first round in a best-of-3 game series beginning on Thursday back at McMurray in Abilene at 6 p.m. Game 2 is on Friday evening at 7, and Game 3 will be on Saturday at 3 p.m. if necessary. And for everything sports around the Concho Valley and beyond, be sure to check in every day at sanangelolive.com/sports.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
So long. Bye. See ya.
Adios.
Carpet Tech is hitting the highway, and we're coming to your hometown.
If you live outside of San Angelo, we'll travel to you and waive the mileage fees. That's a savings of up to $200. The further away you are from our location, the more you save. Now's the time to get your carpets, hard floors, and upholstery clean, saving up to $200.
Bye. How was that?
Well, welcome back. I'm Joe Hyde. Today we have a very, very cool interview. We're going to talk with Mike McClure and the Great Divide. We got the whole band on Zoom because of all these internet technologies. The important thing for you to remember after we talk is that this band is going to be performing at Cooper's Barbecue on Saturday night. Cooper's Barbecue, of course, is that place down there in Christoval. But Mike, are you on? Let's see if we can flip over to Mike. There he is. That is the great Mike McClure, ladies and gentlemen.
How's it going, man?
Mike, we go back a long way, you go back a long way in the Texas music scene, and obviously with the Great Divide, now I guess reunited and reinvigorated with a new record. What's it been like? What do you think? I'll just ask you, where do you think Texas music is, or Texas Red Dirt music is right now? Do you think it's on an upswing, downswing, or is it kind of just treading water?
It's still swinging. I think, for me, as far as when I hear the word Red Dirt, I have a little different perspective because, like right when the Great Divide started back in '92, that's when I first heard the term Red Dirt music, and it was by Tom Skinner and a guy named Bob Childers and some local people around there. I really got into and really helped my songwriting, hanging out at the farm and honing a song and having people to play the song for, and that was what Red Dirt was to me. And then we flew our flag under that banner, the Great Divide. We were the first Red Dirt band to sign with the major label. And, I think our band was instrumental in blowing open a lot of, especially for Oklahoma, coming down into Texas. We blended so much Texas music into our stuff, though. We play Robert Earl Keen, Jerry Jeff Walker, Guy Clark kind of stuff. And so it was just kind of a natural blend between Texas and Oklahoma for us. And, as far as what's going on now, it's good to have new music out there.
That's right. I would say 15 years ago, I talked to Wade Bowen, and he was just coming out with this Hotel album. And one of the things that really struck me talking with him, because he was fairly successful on the circuit at that time. Of course, he's bigger today. But he said the big speed bump into getting a record deal in Nashville, for example, is you already make so much money on the road, so you have to make more money on that Nashville deal than, let's say, someone who just showed up in Nashville and was waiting on tables there in town trying to get a record deal. The Texas country, the Red Dirt artist already has this built-in circuit of all these venues, and they can make a pretty good living just doing that.
Jay, you want to talk on that?
Yeah, I think that, it's, it has changed over the years, especially not only that point, but with the onset of platforms like YouTube and the other social media platforms where you can also record for a significantly less amount of money than it took back in the day to get a good recording, something that was worthy of radio play. And so that really took the power out of the hands of the conglomerates in Nashville. And so they really just don't have as much to offer. But Texas has always been unique. I've dealt with this over the last couple of years where we get an offer to play at Cain's in Tulsa, and we get an offer to play at Tumbleweed in Stillwater, and we get an offer to play at the Criterion in Oklahoma City. And I'm like, well, we got to pick one because radius clauses dictate, 150 miles and 90 days before and 60 days after. Well, you can go into Texas and play for 6 months and never breach radius and never play in the same market. So certainly for Texas artists, that is something that's been a big benefit to their career. I produced 2 records for No Justice, and I produced 4 songs for Eli Young Band, and both those guys were plenty successful, leading up to getting offered a record deal or doing something different. So that's the beauty in Texas. And I it's a rarity for sure. I mean, I'm glad that it's taken the hands out of the conglomerate powers that be. But it is a little bit of an anomaly. I mean, Texas is it's like a whole other country.
And that's J.J. Lesser. He's the drummer for the Great Divide. Did I get that correct?
I'm the bummer for the Great Divide.
The bummer?
Yeah, the bummer.
Well, talking more about producing.
Since
we got a lot of, I have a great mind share here of songwriters and producers. One of the things that I always wonder, what is the magic? What is the magic that makes a song a hit? And I've asked like Radney Foster that, and Radney will say he can't really come up with, he goes, there's definitely formulas, but he said some things just come out of the left field. Maybe the song's too long, too slow, but it's still, like Whiskey Lullaby, he would mention that one. It's too long, it's too sad, it's too slow, and that became a big hit. What do y'all look for when you're producing other artists as far as what could be a hit?
Well, for me, it's all about the songs. You could make something that has a catchy lick or a riff or is a catchy melody, but if it's not saying something and moving people in some sort of way, then to me that it really doesn't matter. I mean, there can be ridiculous songs that are catchy, but what I've always looked for is just if I'm working with somebody, I want to hear the songs. Can the songs stand up on their own with just an acoustic guitar? And if they can't, why not? And that's where I start.
Now, Mike, you produced.
Yeah, I would.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kelly. JJ Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Oh wait, I got the wrong. This is.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say, Mike and I worked together on a Ragweed record, and Mike and I worked together on a Bowling record, and obviously all of us collectively worked on the Great Divide records. It was, there's something about. I totally agree with Mike. If the song doesn't stand on its own, I'm really not that interested. But I don't think the Great Divide or Mike, I certainly know for myself, has gone into the studio to work on one of our projects or work on producing or even just playing on somebody else's record with the mindset of we're looking for a hit. I've always been, and I think I speak for all of us, that we're looking for the best songs that we can put out for the project. Like we want to create. You don't say, well, if I'm going to do a painting, and so as long as I get the nose dead on, it doesn't really matter if the rest of it matches. I think I know my philosophy's always been, it's not so much am I looking for that individual song as a conglomerate of songs as a piece of work, so that when people listen to that record, they're going to want to listen to it from front to back. It's not just there's necessarily one good song on there, but there are those little things that you pick up over time, and I think some of it probably comes natural, that you just hear those little things from a musical perspective of it, from a tonal perspective of it, that click with somebody's psyche. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm going to ask a controversial question here. In songwriting, I mean, in today's toxic environment, we got kind of like a toxic social environment. Some people would call it a toxic political environment, but it's really kind of a social environment. One of the things I see it's missing out of the red dirt Texas country scene is there hasn't been a real fighting song for the working man written, I think, for years. I think the last one, probably the best one, and the last one I can remember was Brandon Jenkins and Finger on the Trigger. That was like a fighting song. I felt like that was a fighting song that was, expressing frustration with way the economy was. I guess you can go back to the financial crisis of '08. And I haven't really heard one yet. Do y'all know of anything out there that's a good fighting song for the working man?
Not necessarily. Kelly, you got any working man tidbits?
No, I don't know of any songs out that would fit what you're talking about, but I think there's a good reason for it. Just like when you go to a family reunion, the last thing you should do is talk politics or religion. in my opinion. I know plenty of people do it, but there's the Texas and red dirt scenes are there's such a wide variety of songwriters and musicians and musical styles and backgrounds, whether it be political or where and how someone grew up. Is why would you want to offend or disassociate part of your market by going into those type of things? Let's keep it simple and just love everybody.
Yeah, that's where our song "Good Side" comes in. That was the first song that I wrote for the record, and it was looking at exactly that. All the negativity, the politics, the all kinds of stuff, just negative, 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 and it's just time, I think, as a whole, we put that down and start looking for the positive stuff and trying to find the good side. And that to me
certainly
playing.
Good Side did well because I looked up the stats before the show. It had the highest debut for release on the Texas Regional Radio chart, and it went to #1 on the CDX Traction Texas chart. And I think the CDX Traction Texas chart is probably one of the best indicators because the way they measure things. But you think it was the positive message in that song that did it, Mike?
I think so. And I think the cool thing about that track is it's got kind of a groove. Like it reminds me of like "Never Could," one of our older songs. It's just like there's this happy kind of chord pattern going on underneath it. It was a result of trying to get back myself on the good side, and hopefully that message spreads out there. I think people know that. It's just people get caught up online and stuff in some sort of echo chamber of listening to everybody that agrees with them only, and it's easy to victimize each other and blame each other when that should all be set down and move forward.
I'm going to ask the bassist a question. Are you still there?
Sure. Yep.
How do you keep up with Mike with his crazy guitar playing he does? I mean, I've
seen
seen
how
the
do
guy
I
in concert
keep
about
up with
50
Mike?
times.
4 strings at a time.
How do you keep up with him? I mean, he could change on a dime on you.
Yeah, he's pretty tricky. You got to watch him. You got to keep an eye on him. But we were talking to some people about that this past weekend. That us original 4 guys, and of course now we've got Bryce Conway on keys, and he's just a great musician as well. But the 4 of us primarily been playing together for 30 years now, so you kind of pick up on when Mike's going to do something. You can tell by the way he's playing where he might be going. And JJ talked about that a lot, that JJ cues off of where Mike's going, and we all do, and we cue off each other too. When you play with someone that long, you kind of get a feel of what they do and when they're going to do it. You can hear it coming, feel it coming. Sometimes you don't.
If you're cueing off somebody, it's good that they're not trying to cue off you. Then it gets really.
All right, so 20 years ago, I guess y'all were rocking and rolling together. Does it feel the same as it did 20 years ago, or is there something different?
Well, definitely age is a factor. We're all getting up there. We're all in our 50s. Scott might be 70. I can't remember. But yeah, we're all up there, getting older, so we're not as wild as we used to be, and for me, I've been sober for coming up on 4 years, and that's been a big change to where I'm not, I'm more present when I'm at a show, and I'm more into it, and I'm not just somehow drink myself out of being present, and so that's been a big plus for me, being able to really just feel, the love from a crowd, the love within the band. I really feel that more now. I'm just more aware of things in general, to where, when we were rocking and rolling, up and down the road playing 250 nights a year, it was easy to just get drunk and turn your feelers off. And so I'm thankful for coming out of that and being able to actually feel this thing we generate, which is it's cool. It's a lot of love and it's a lot of good feels.
Well, the new album is Providence. And Mike, one more question. You know, the getting sober and being sober for as long as you have is a major accomplishment. I mean, I know everyone has a family member who drinks a lot or may drink too much or that kind of thing, and, and a lot of people struggled with it. What was your secret? Was it Providence?
I came off of the heels of a marriage that had gone awry, and I was kind of poised on this. I was fixing to just probably go really wild and crazy, but I ran into Chrislyn Lawrence, who we fell in love, and she became my wife. And at some point, I started noticing that the problems were kind of coming from me and not from the outside sources. And I realized that if I didn't get a handle on my drinking, which was for me to just completely put it down, and once I got a handle on that, everything else fell into place. And I realized if I kept up at the pace I was going, I was gonna screw that relationship up, and I didn't want to. So love,
new marriage, new life, and basically you have a new band. If you really think about it, I mean, you're back to your roots with your new band, and
absolutely.
Anyway, the album, the record name for the album is Providence. Did you mean is that Providence mentioning like a God or things like that, or what was the inspiration for the name of the record?
Well, JJ and I were kicking that around on the bus one night, and just kind of talking how it felt like Providence, like we were in the right spot, and you can call that, divine, through, however you experience God, and I just think that it was, and for us, Providence is from going through a breakup, coming back together, not really mending fences, and then older we got, the more we really mended fences, and I just think that's how God moves, and always moves towards love and towards peace, and that's what I've really felt like with this whole record, is all of us moving, not only musically but personally into places of peace.
Well, Mike,
being inside of it. I'm not saying this is accurate, but being inside, from a providential perspective, like all these things had to take place for us to finally get to this point. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying that's true, because we didn't have to be buffoons early on, but because the choices we made were our own. But we would not be where we're at right now. And I'm not even talking about the Great Divide making music. I'm talking about Mike, Scotty Kelly, and JJ loving one another and coming back to that brotherhood that started out in 1992, had we not gone through all the things we've gone through.
Well, there we are. We have the legends of the Texas music scene. I call it the Texas music scene, although I understand y'all have that Stillwater thing going on, but the Great Divide, the original members, Mike McClure, J.J. Lester, Kelly Green on bass, and then they've added Bryce Conway as a keyboardist on the band. Coming off a lot of
Bryce
music.
Or Bruce?
He was the first?
Is it Bruce Conway or Bryce?
I think it's Bryce.
It's Bryce. Okay.
Bryce Conway. Y'all need to learn. Y'all need to learn. Get to know your keyboard player.
Yeah, he's new. He may not last.
But the original guys are going to be at Cooper's Barbecue on Saturday night. They just released a record, Providence. They have a #1 hit off of it, The Good Side. And then finally they have a new single release, The Infinite Line, that came out on March 13th. This is The Great Divide. Mike, one more word for you, last word from you. What is it going to be like out there at Cooper's Barbecue? We're going to have a good time?
We are going to have a silly time, a really good time. I can't say that. I can't stress that anymore. Good time. No, we'll be playing a lot of our old stuff. People go back to the 90s with us, and we try to cover a wide swath of that music. And then we've added some of the new songs. Now we got a #1 hit to add. So that's pretty cool.
And you can also catch them on Spotify. You can see the spin counts going up and up and up for the Great Divide. But these guys are legends for the Red Dirt Texas country scene, and this is certainly worthy of your time to go see the show. But for all you guys, the Great Divide out there on Zoom land, thanks for joining us on San Angelo Live. And now back to y'all in the studio.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Kano stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Kano's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo. Thank you, Joe. What a great interview with the Great Divide. Make sure you guys go out there this Saturday to Cooper's Barbecue. It's going to be one heck of a show. Of course, these guys know everything about Texas country music. So if you're out there and you get a chance to talk to them, I promise you they've got some really good stories. This is Live Daily News. We're here every weekday at around the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to be giving you some news and an interview to get you through the day. For everyone here at San Angelo Live, I'm Matt Trammell. Until tomorrow, we'll see you.